I shouldn't say anything because it's not my place, but yeah, I don't want to gossip. You already gossiping. You done already said I shouldn't say anything. Just tell them.
Whether you travel the open roads of the interstate system or sit home on a rainy fall evening.
What up, everybody? Welcome to another episode of Bookmarks. I am your hostess, Sherry's Joy. I am an avid reader. I love to read books. So, welcome to my channel if you're new, and if you're not, welcome back. And this week I read The Tenant by Freida McFadden. So, my love for Freida McFadden started last year in 2024, where I read a lot of her books. And I was like binge reading them. And I read so many of the books that they almost started to become not necessarily predictable, but like I kind of saw a pattern of like when the twists are coming and when they're not coming, but they were still so entertainable. And what I love about Freida McFadden's writing, just like probably a lot of you, is that she is a psychological thriller author. So not only are we, am I getting that thrill, but I'm also getting like the psychological of it, right? Like the brain work and the twists and things like that. And she just really, I don't know, she just really messes with like the character's psyche. And I absolutely love that. She is one of my top authors, and I just discovered her last year, right? So she's putting them out there. So and they've all the ones that I've read have been pretty good so far, except for one. I will not say what that one is. I was so mad at it and so disappointed in it that I don't know. So it's not about that book though. It's about The Tenant. So The Tenant came out in May of this year. I am a late reader to this one, but it's okay. So what is The Tenant about? The Tenant is about Blake and Krista. They are married, and just like most of Frida's books, they take place in New York City, or like Long Island, I've noticed. This one is Upper East Manhattan. And they live in a brownstone. Blake bought this brownstone, to live in because that's what you do. And he works for he's very successful. He works for this big company, and he thrives off of his work, and he's doing wonderful. And at the beginning of the book, we learn, just to back that up a little bit, I read the book and I also listened to the audio. So the audio is narrated by two people, and Will Dameron and Christine Lakin. Now, this book is a little different from most of her other books because this is in the male's perspective. We do go into the female perspective a little bit, but it's 90% the male perspective, and that is different. Now, when I first read it and then I listened to it, I was like, a man is reading this. Like, nothing wrong with that, but it was just different. I was like, this is a man. Okay. But it actually was funny. Like the narrator, he was very funny. He brought life to the character. Like he brought not life to the character. Obviously, Frida brought that, but he brought that like comedic part of it out, and like the male's perspective on things just was like on point, and just like I appreciated it. It was really good, and I feel like he did such a beautiful job um um being the character, right? Okay, so Blake and Krista, they are engaged, and they live in this brownstone, and he is very, very successful at his job, and he loves what he does and everything. I'm getting like the Wall Street vibes here. It doesn't really go into what he does for a living, but I am kind of like getting that like Wall Street vibe. So we start off, he talks about like how he got his office. So he's actually in an office of somebody that couldn't handle their position, or we don't really know, but they actually like decided to purposely jump out of the window on Wall Street. So that's another thing. I was like, okay, well, I don't know, maybe that's like, I don't, but yes. So that's what happened. So that's how he actually got this office. So he's like admiring his office and looking at the view and not understanding, what could have happened. And then he gets called into his boss's office, and the boss is like, you know what? How could you do this to our company, and da 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 da. So comes to find out, like they think that he, not insider trading, but like they think that he sold like some secretive, like classified information to another company or to somebody else, and it leaked important confidential information, so he gets fired. And he's trying to figure out like how to pay his rent, how not rent, mortgage, how to pay this mortgage on this brownstone that they have in Upper East Manhattan. And his fiance, she runs a laundry facility. So I don't know, I don't know anything about that business, but according to this couple, like her laundry business and money coming in isn't going to cut the mortgage and all the other bills. So he's like trying to take on different jobs. And she's like, we should take in a tenant. He's like, a tenant? Absolutely not. And she's all like, yeah, we have this big brownstone and all these bedrooms and all this space, and we could totally bring on a tenant and that'll help with the mortgage. And he's like, no. And she kind of convinces him to like take on this tenant. So they do like all these different interviews for people. It was kind of like a Mrs. Doubtfire type scene. That I thought that reminded me of, where you've got like the different people coming in to like interview, and you've got some good ones, you've got some bad ones, you've got some quirky ones. And this one lady, she comes in and she's just like, you get like hippie vibes, right? Her name is Qua Elizabeth. Qua Elizabeth. And she's like a psychic reader type of thing, she's into all of that. And she's like, oh man, before I come into your home, I want to put down some salt, because that'll get rid of like the bad energy or whatever. So she puts down the salt, and then he's like, great, now I gotta clean that up. And he's like not into it at all. And so she goes in, and he's like, they're talking. And then all of a sudden she's like, oh, you know what? This isn't going to work out for me. And he's all like, well, what? And then she says to Krista, can I talk to you outside? And she's like, well, what's going on? Anything that you can say to Blake. You can say in front of Blake. And she's like, I have to talk to you. So she tells, basically, she gets it out of her system. She tells Krista in front of Blake that something bad is going to happen to Krista. And she's like, he's going to use a knife on you, and it's going to happen right here, and then you won't be alive anymore. And she's like, that's so silly. Like, Blake wouldn't harm me. Like, thank you for coming out, and they push her out of the door. So that's like a quirky person and everything. And then there's this other thing. And then this girl comes, this person comes, this young lady, her name is Whitney. And she's like, perfect. Okay, we got what's that movie, Single White Female here? She's like, perfect. Yes. Oh, I love it. I love it. When can I move in and all this other stuff? And Krista's like, oh, you can move in like right now. We just need a deposit. Blake's like, hold on. Before you move in, I'm going to need to do this background check. We need first and last month's rent, and, everything but like a drop of blood from you, because he really doesn't want to have a tenant. So he's like, got to protect his, asset here, his home. So the background check comes in, she runs clean and everything, she moves in, and all havoc happens. Things things start just like mysteriously happening. They get like these gnats in the house, and it's like so uncontrollable. He starts like getting itchy under his clothes. Like he's got like the serious allergy to limonene. I've never even heard of limonene. So apparently limonene is like a citrus, and a lot of detergents have it in, it's mixed in with the detergent. So me, I use hypoallergic everything, so I don't have to deal with that. But maybe that's why, I don't know. But he's like seriously allergic to that. So he's like scratching to the point to whereas he's like almost bleeding. And the scene that really explains that is just like really good, and it makes my skin crawl. So he's like on this interview, or he's at work. He gets a temp position, and he's like a gopher. Okay. So remember like 1980s type gopher, go get us coffee. I don't know if that's a thing now, but he has to like go to the famous green coffee store that's across the street to get like 8, like whatever the verde or whatever the heck size is, the large, and 8 of them. And he has to like carry them across the street, and he dumps them down. And they're like, they're like complaining, well, you didn't get this and you don't get this. This one has oat milk. I said blah, blah, right? So that type of thing. So he's like standing there and he's like, okay. And he's like very itchy. So he goes into the bathroom, and this is like so descriptive. He goes into the bathroom and he all but like takes off his shirt, and he's like scratching, and it's like explaining how his skin is red and bumpy, and like he's scratching to whereas he can see like his scratch marks, and it's making it worse, but it feels so much better to scratch and to just scratch the itch, and he starts bleeding, and like it was written so. I have allergies, so I completely understand this 100%. And it could be like one of those like creepy crawly psychological moments, but for me it made me want to like just scratch myself. So that was like so really good and descriptive. So so things like that start happening. Other things start happening. Shampoo totally 100% disappears. Soap disappears. This gnat issue is just like, gotta get to the bottom of it. So he's like blaming Whitney for it, and he's like really trying to tell his fiance, hey, Whitney is doing this, and she's all dumb. Like, why would you blame her for that? Why would you just don't want a tenant? Are you doing this to yourself to get rid of Whitney? And I'm like, why are these people engaged? Why are they going to get married? Why do you still want to marry this person? And then she's all, something else happens, and it's just like, come on, Krista. Like, this is the man that you love. You love him. The only thing that's different is you brought in a tenant. Things start happening as soon as this tenant comes in, and you really think that your fiance is doing this. Like, you are stupid. And I did not like Krista at all. I didn't, because I think that she was dumb, and I think that she was like not team her fiance, and just craziness, right? And so we're trying to figure out like what is happening. And it was just so entertaining. Like, the more things were happening, the more I'm like yelling at Krista. But I'm like also like, Blake, come on. And so you kind of see Blake going up to like all these different levels till he can't take it anymore. And when the big bad happens, he's like had enough. So then like it takes all of these levels of things to happen to get to the big bad. And then he decides to like look further into Whitney. So he goes back to the background check, and he's trying to figure all this out. And he calls like her old school and pretends to be, an employer that's looking to hire her. And I'm like, why go through all of that? Why not just say, I am a landlord. She wants to move into, a home of mine, and I'm doing this extensive background check. But, I don't know. I don't hire people, so I don't deal with background checks like that. And so I guess maybe if he says that he's like an employer looking to hire her because he wants her school grades and all of that. So I guess, what's that got to do with living somewhere? So never mind. But still, that's exactly what I was thinking. Like, why go through all of these lies? Like, literally just tell the truth. So, then you got the secretary on the phone from the school who clearly is like a gossiper. And she's just like, oh, yeah, about her. I really shouldn't say anything. But now, the as soon as somebody says I really shouldn't say anything, like daggone well you really shouldn't be saying anything. So you might as well just say what you wanted to say. I shouldn't say anything because it's not my place, but yeah, I weird thing. I don't want to gossip. You already gossiping. You done already said I shouldn't say anything. Just tell them. So you find out, a little bit about her history and this background and how psychotic she is. Like she had this boyfriend in high school, and and he decided to just jump off of the school, the top of the and all these things were happening, right? So all these like quirky weird things. So he's like, oh my god. So that's without spoiling anymore. Like those spoils that I gave are not major, trust me. So without spoiling anymore, that is what this book is about. So it's about this relationship that they have, and he loses his job. They take on a tenant. All havoc breaks loose. These crazy things start happening, and he's trying to get to the bottom of it, and then there's like a twist and another twist, and then the book ends. And bravo, Freida McFadden, like wonderful. What do I rate this book? I rate this a 5. I almost said 5. That's 10. If I could rate it a 10, I would. This is a scale of 1 to 5, so it's a 5. So what did I not like about this book? I didn't like the fact that okay. So what I didn't like is that because I've read, and this is strictly on me, because I've read so many of Freida McFadden books, I kind of know that there's a twist coming. However, since it's been like this is the first book I've read, I'm afraid to say, of hers this entire year, and here we are at the end of the year. So I forgot about like the awesome twists that she has. But when we started getting towards the twist, I was like, okay, here it comes. So but that's okay. Like, that's not even that big of a deal, right? Like that I still was so entertained by this book. So it was not a big deal by any means necessary. What I loved about the book was the twist, right? It was like, oh, what just happened? And then the twist after the twist was like, whoa. So that was so good. And I did like that it was from a man's perspective. And the narrator, he was phenomenal. His name again is Will Dameron, and he was really, really phenomenal. And then okay, so if there's anything that's like really serious that I didn't like, it was the female narrator, but not necessarily her fault. It's the way she read the character. Now, I it was more like, yeah, so I have a green plant, and um yeah. So I'm just like that was annoying. That was annoying, but I think maybe it was like on purpose, right? So it just made the book like really good. So I do highly recommend this book if you haven't read it. And if you like to read audio or listen to audiobooks, try it out because it really like helps with the comedic parts of it. I mean, for me, I don't know. Just I would definitely recommend trying an audiobook for sure. I've just started getting into them and they're good. So I appreciate all of you taking your time to listen and watch my review. I truly do appreciate that. I am Sherry's Joy. I am one half of the DigiKast. You can find me right here on YouTube. Please like and subscribe. And if you know anyone who loves books or is interested in any, of my book reviews or that could benefit from this, please feel free to share the link, spread the love, and come back and check out my other reviews and come back. And if you have any comments or questions, please feel free to drop me a line. Do that anyway. Let me know how I'm doing. If you have a book or any recommendations, I am open to those. Just drop me a line. If you've read this book and you want to talk about this book, or, let me know what you thought about this book. Do you agree with me? Do you not agree with me? Let me know in the comments below. I appreciate all of that. And you can find me on Blue Sky at Sherry's Joy. You can find me on Instagram at bookmarkedsj. The DigiKast, as I said, you can find DigiKast on Instagram, Spotify, Facebook, YouTube. At the DigiKast, we do lots of travel stuff, travel on a budget. Awesome. We got some good content coming up. And I look forward to 2026. That sounds like it's so far in the future, but it's kind of like that. It's just weird to say, So I just appreciate all of you and thank you so much. And again, love the world.